Hey, Craig Cottle from Nature Reliance School, guest instructor with dansdepot.com, coming at you today. What we've got behind us is a good pond out here in the middle of some forested timber. What I thought we'd do is do what we can to find us a good gig, show you how to make a gig out of natural materials and utilizing the tools you've got in your kit. And if you can listen, you can probably hear some of those frogs in the background that are going to be supper for us if we wanted to. So glad you're out here with us today. Hang on. Hey, so I want to emphasize for you, in a survival situation, use whatever resources that you need. Take any type of plant that you know that is something that you can utilize. But in your practice, we want to make sure that we're good stewards of our natural resources. So what I don't want you to do is just go out and cut indiscriminately any wild tree that you might find. You don't know what, unless you know what you're cutting. Okay, sometimes cutting trees are a good thing, even live trees. There's some trees that'll choke out other species in the forest, so you need to know what those are. But again, that's a recommendation based upon you on private land. Federal managed land, state managed land is something that you cannot, in most cases you cannot take any live trees. So make sure you know the regulations of the place that you're practicing in. So what we got here is it looks like a silky dogwood. This tree's broke over. I can't tell if you can see the other end on what you're looking at right now. But I know that this species right here is a great species out here. Deer love eating the buds and branches off of this thing in wintertime in particular. And it's very beautiful too. But at the same time, this one has died. It's been broken over in the storm. So what we're going to do is we're going to harvest a small portion of this at the end because this tree's now dead. And we are going to fashion our gig from it. So what we got, everybody, is we have taken our silky dogwood that's dead, and now we're going to form this into a gig. So what I'm going to do is do what I can to skin this and make it as smooth as possible all the way up and down. You know, a good foot down the length of this, what is getting ready to be a gig. And I'm going to take some bank line, and I'm going to wrap that bank line a good 8 to 10 inches down along the base of this gig, and then I'm going to split this so that we've got at least 2, and depending on how it goes, I might make it a 3 or a 4 prong gig. So now that we've got this going, we've got our bank line, and we're going to take this bank line, and again we're going to tie it down so that it acts as a stopper when I split what it is that's going to be this gig. So there's our bank line tied down to the end. You could use paracord on this. I just didn't happen to have any on me, so I used what I had on my pack. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my baton. I'm going to use my knife and baton it in with my small axe so that we can split this. Again, we'll see. I'm going to at least get 2, maybe 4 prongs out of this particular gig. So with my knife and the end of it, you can see I've got this thing split 4 different ways. So what I can do is now I'm going to take my hatchet, and I could use my knife if I want to take some more time, but I could use my knife to simply sharpen the end of this gig into points, and then I'll show you how to make a gig such that it can be utilized to either stick through an animal or to use it to simply trap an animal. So I pretty much, I don't have them to points yet, but I think this will serve to show you what it is that I want to show you. Now that we've got this out to basically 1 point and all these little barbs are going to be there to provide the gig, what I want to do is I take wedges. Oftentimes what I do is I just try to use the pieces and parts that I just shaved off to act as wedges inside the gig. That way I'm just using the materials that are already available to me. You can do this real simple. It doesn't have to be anything exciting. So basically all I've done is got a couple wedges in there. If I wanted to make it look cooler, you know, I could use something a little bit more uniform, like take a stick that's I found right here on the ground and just stick it in there. All I'm trying to do is to create some space between the barbs themselves. This is some of the branches off of what I cut off of the dogwood. So what I've done is basically created a gig with two simple sticks. This is real crude. I just want to make sure that you get an idea what it is. All I want to do is spread these out, and I can use this to stick, and again, if I want to, I can get it as sharp as I want to. Get these barbs as sharp as I need them to be. And I've got me a pretty good gig here. So again, if you split it and it messes up and a piece goes flying off, then simply make it a two barbs for on the gig, rather than I've got it split off once too much for me. I've got 1, 2, 5 on this one. You can break 2 of these off if you want to, cut them off any way you want to, and you've got a 2-prong gig, and you didn't have to make much work of that. As you can see, it didn't take much effort on my part to make a 2-prong gig. So this is real simplistic, and then I take this gig and I can gig me some frogs with it. I've used this before. It works pretty well, actually, better than you think it would. But basically what you want to do is, particularly on frogs and fish, I'm going to take that and I'm going to thrust that into the animal as best I can and stick it to the bottom of the creek or the pond or whatever it is that I might be gigging in, and utilize it so I can just hold the animal so that I can go up and then get it and retrieve it so that we can fix it for dinner. So, Craig Cottle, Nature Reliance School, working with dansdepot.com. Hope to see you on or off the trail.